Hello everybody, welcome to the Sarnowski Garage. Today we're going to talk about how to plastidip your wheels. Here we have a 2014 Range Rover Sport, and as you can see, this car would probably look really good with black wheels. So instead of ordering them from the factory, which is $1,800, we're going to spend about $20 and make these black. So first thing we're going to do is wash the car. This has already been washed. Wash the wheels with a soap without any wax. You don't want any wax in the soap, so just a nice soap. Clean it. Then after that, I usually take a leaf blower and I'll blow all the moisture out of all the cracks. Then I'll dry it by hand with a microfiber towel. And then I'm going to show you how I want to leave on this vehicle, I want to leave the lug nuts. I want to leave those chrome, or in this case aluminum, and I want to cover up the valve stem. So I'll show you how we tape that up. Okay, here I'm going to tape the valve stem. I like to use Scotch painter's tape, the blue tape. So I'm going to cover this valve stem. So I'm going to start with a short piece on the one side, wrap that tight, and then wrap the excess around either direction you want to go, but just tape that around and then just pinch it off at the top like so. Okay, now I'm going to do the lug nut. So I'm going to take a piece probably about 3.5 inches around, and then I want to make a complete circle out of this, a little bit bigger than a thumb. So I make a complete circle like that. Then I'm going to slide this over the lug nut because they're, hexagon. I'm going to take this flathead screwdriver and just kind of press on one side. And I'm going to have all the excess all go in one direction, all to one side. And I'm pressing. So I get all the sides pressed on that tape with a flathead screwdriver. Then I'm just going to twist this, push it in, like so. And now I've got a lug nut completely covered in the tape, and after we paint, we'll peel that off. Now the next step we're going to do is we obviously don't want to paint the brake caliper or the disc, the brake disc, or anything else in there. So we're going to protect all that with, and I like to use newspaper. Some people use plastic or whatever you want, but depending on the type of rim that you have, some are easier to get stuff back in there than others. But I'm going to take newspaper, and I like newspaper because it can be fairly stiff and kind of stay where I want it. So I'm going to shove newspaper up in there, work it around, and once you get a bunch in there, then you can kind of place it, obviously, so that you're not covering up the wheel that you're painting, but you're covering the back area that you don't want painted. And so this will just take a few minutes, a wheel, maybe about 2 newspapers. And then I'm just going to work it around and stuff it in. Okay, the next step, I'm going to kind of make myself a protective cardboard for the overspray. I don't want to get spray on this is a white vehicle, and I don't like to get too much on the tire, although you can peel it off. So I'm going to take this piece of cardboard, and now I'm going to try to make a arc similar to the shape of the wheel. So you can do that with a nail and a piece of string, but I have a compass, and basically I'm going to make the center point of this wheel out to where I want my cardboard to stop, and this is obviously adjustable, and I'm going to make my mark like so. Okay, cut. Use Rust-Oleum flexidip, and the other brand is plastidip. Both are virtually identical materials, and I've used both. So obviously read the directions of the can, a well ventilated area. Shake the can for quite a while so that you get a good even viscosity coming out of the spray nozzle. So the first coat is going to be very light, very thin, very light. You don't want any drips or runs. Obviously, make sure your spray nozzle is spraying out a good, a good spray. And I'm just going to go over very lightly with a nice light coat. You don't want to spray too close, not too far away. So probably in a 6 to 8 inch range is what you want to do. So here we go. Work your way from the outside, then you work your way into the center. Depending on the type of rims that you have, you've got a lot of different angles. So it's going to take a while. The first coat's very important that you get a nice thin layer on it. Working your, all the way around, try to be as even as you can. Better to put several light coats than too thick of coats because you're not going to get good adhesion and it's going to run on you. As you notice, I'm pressing and releasing the nozzle as I go. You don't want to just have like a fire hose just flooding it, because I want to control how much I put on there. I'm going to change angles so that because of the shape of this rim, I'm going to hit it from several angles. Each coat will take approximately 20 minutes to dry, and after I do that, I'll probably end up putting at least 3 coats, maybe 4, just depends. This particular product is going to dry in a matte finish, and I want this to be a gloss, so I will come over with a special spray that is a gloss coating over the top from the same brand, and it'll peel off. Now, this will last a good, this should last a good year or more. I've had them on a Jeep that lasted, it's going on 2 years now, and really with no flaws in it. So, and you can wash the wheel and so forth. Of course, the longer you leave it on, the harder it's going to be to peel off, but it will come off when you want. Now, what we've done is we've put 3 coats of the flexidip on there. And between each coat, we waited 20 minutes. So we've got really good coverage with it. Still have the newspaper, behind that to protect the brake calipers and the disc. So now we're going to put a clear gloss because I don't want a matte finish. I want a gloss finish with this to kind of accent the gloss finish of this vehicle. So I'm going to spray this on again lightly, not oversaturated because you don't want any runs, and probably 2 light coats of this will give us a nice shine.
Here are the Jeep wheels he was talking about a minute ago. These were painted with plastidip about a year ago, and they've held up really well. The tires were even changed at one point. And that caused a little bit of nicking around the edges, that you can see a little bit there. We went around and tried to touch up those areas as best we could. It wasn't that bad, actually. It held up pretty well. But that's after about a year, even a little over a year. They still look fantastic, and it would still peel off pretty easily. Okay, here's the final product. The masking tape has been peeled off of the lug nuts. Then you see the gloss coat really gives a nice sheen. Matches the rest of the trim and